It's Jovana from bumperleads.com, and today I am doing a video chat with Anna Siljama, who is an awesome hypnotherapist located here in Melbourne, Australia. And I thought Anna would be a perfect guest for us today because I think we are in the middle of some unprecedented crisis that's going on and impacting everyone around the world. And there's a lot of hype in media, there's a lot of uncertainty. And as business owners, even, including myself, you don't really have all the information, available to you to make the right decisions in your business. But you can talk to a hypnotherapist who could help you de-stress and unclog and open your maybe subconscious mind, where you could easily map a nice roadmap for your road to success as a business owner. And I thought Anna Siljama would be somebody that could help anyone in the world, because she's actually online. She runs an online practice, although she's based in Australia. And she also has some really great tips to share for our listeners and our viewers today that we can do easily at home. And we could simply apply that in our everyday life to open that mind to opportunities and possibilities while the world is going through this crisis. So welcome, Anna.
Thank you, Jovana. Yes.
So Anna Siljama is, I'm going to actually include your name because it's actually the business name, annasiljama.com.au, where people can actually go and visit and listen and read all your materials. But can you tell us what hypnosis actually is?
Absolutely. So hypnosis is a natural state of mind that we go in and out of all the time. But I know there are lots of myths and misperceptions out there about what it is and what it isn't, based on what we've been told, what we've seen in the movies, on the stage hypnosis shows. So everyone has some weird and wonderful ideas. And most people think that it is mind control, that it's a state of sleep, that it's magic, or that not everyone can be hypnotized. But really it is simply a natural state of mind that we, as every single human being on this planet, we go in and out of all the time, multiple times a day. It's that daydream-like state where we're deep in thought. It is where we're got that singular point of focus when we're immersed in something and everything else seems to be zoned out from around us. And we experience it behind the wheel of a car, and it's called highway hypnosis, when you're literally like, you're perfectly safe, in control. There's nothing wrong with this, but human beings typically zone out, right? And so you are daydreaming behind the wheel of a car. Everyone has done it, believe me. And we're safe, we're in control. It's just the subconscious mind has taken control, that's all. And consciously, it gets bored. And so it starts to think about something else. And it happens when we're watching the movie as well. When we're deep in, only in good movies. If it's a bad movie, we don't get hypnotized. But if it's a really good movie, then whenever you start to be affected emotionally by that movie, if you've ever cried in a movie, you've experienced hypnosis.
Wow, I
That's
didn't know that.
Yes.
That's good. Yes. I was actually just walking to get my coffee, because we're allowed to leave our house at the time of this recording. Just so I can say, at the time of this recording, we're still okay to leave our house and get a takeaway coffee and come back. And so Corey is telling me about what, my husband Corey is going to do this in Aldi and buy eggs and I'm like completely zoned out. And I asked him some random question. So I was really deep in my thought, and he's like, here you go again, Jovana. You never listen to me. So it's not good for relationships, is it?
Well, look, it happens. We zone out. We like parents. They have the ability to tune their children out, and they're causing a racket in the next room, and you don't even hear it. So parents are excellent at going into hypnosis.
Oh, you know what? I guess with the homeschooling, there is now
Oh,
a thing where parents, one of our clients has 3 kids that they have to homeschool from 3 different schools.
mm,
Uh, okay, so you now need to know the curriculums and the process, and they have very different ways of, doing things online. So as a parent, yeah, definitely, it's going to be a
yeah.
struggle. How do you cope? How would you? I guess you don't need hypnosis because you're already trained.
Well, it's just leaning on healthy coping mechanisms. Now, we all have our coping strategies. Some are healthy and some are unhealthy. And what we want to do is adopt healthy coping mechanisms rather than leaning on the unhealthy. Because I've got a saying that smokers smoke, eaters eat, drinkers drink. And you will find that people are eating more, drinking more, or smoking more right now. So
Yes.
that's a telltale sign that you are using these substances to self-medicate. And obviously, like human beings, we're intelligent and we're not stupid. And we do these things because they work, right? But the problem is that these coping mechanisms over time end up creating far more problems than they're solving. So we want to adopt healthy coping mechanisms and strategies to help us deal with these stresses during these times.
I like that. So,
Yeah.
would you be happy to share a couple of things for us to try at home?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I've developed in my clinic is what's called the 4 Ds to de-stress, right? So the 4 Ds are decode, defuse, detox, and develop. All right. So if I'm just going to briefly go through these. So decode means we want to learn the secret language of our feelings. Our feelings are there for a reason, and they're not to be ignored or suppressed. So yes, if we are feeling stressed, and trust me, all of us are stressing out right now because of the uncertainty, the change. We don't know what the future is going to bring. We don't know how long we're going to be in lockdown for. We don't know how this is actually going to affect our business in the long run, right? We're freaking out. And then for parents, the stress of having children at home and having to be responsible for the homeschooling, the extra pressure on our relationships right now because we're spending a lot more time with each other and we don't have our personal space. So
This,
we want to actually lean into our feelings. And so feelings, each feeling has a cause. Now, all feelings are good, even the ones that make us feel bad, but it's what we do about them that is either good, bad, or ineffective. So when it comes to fear, stress, overwhelm, anxiety, right, that is our mind is perceiving danger. So what we want to do is then move to the D number 2, which is defuse. Now, the best way I've found to do a DIY approach without going to a therapist is to actually write down your thoughts, get them out of your head and onto paper. And what that process is doing is raising your subconsciousness into your consciousness. So we've got 2 parts of our mind, our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. So our conscious mind is logical, it's analytical, but our subconscious mind is irrational and illogical. Now, our fears are coming from our emotional mind. So most of the time, they're completely irrational and illogical. So write them down, write down all of your fears, write down, well, what is the worst thing that can happen to me right now? And don't filter your thoughts, just write down whatever comes to you. And what happens is when you write them down on paper, you notice, oh, that's just silly. You know, I'm overreacting. What am I worried about, right? So therefore, just that process alone helps you to diffuse those emotions. Then we go to D number 3, which is detox. So what we want to do is start to question and challenge our feelings, because what happens is over time, we go through life and any emotion that hasn't been processed gets suppressed. And so over time, all of these suppressed emotions build up and become our emotional baggage. And when we find that we're unable to cope with our emotions, cope with life, it's an indication, it's a symptom that your cup is full of negative emotion. And what we want to do is start to empty the cup, to detox those negative emotions, to empty the emotional baggage that we've got, get rid of it. So what we want to do then is go back to step number 2, go back to what you have just written and reread each sentence one at a time and reality check it. Question it, challenge it, and go, is this true? Right? And so we want to learn how to think critically and not believe every single stupid thought we have. And then step number 4 is to develop healthier, positive coping mechanisms. So start to develop positive self-talk. Question it then and there. Stop it in its tracks. And then where focus goes, energy flows. So we don't want to put all of our focus and energy towards the negative, towards the what ifs and the worries and the stress. Yeah, it's there. We acknowledge it, we accept it and go, right. But acknowledging that all of our thoughts are simply in our imagination. Our thoughts are not reality, but it's an indication of the story that we're telling. So change your story and go, all right, well, that's the worst that can happen, but what's the likelihood of that actually happening? So what's the best that can happen? And for example, what's happening now with COVID-19 and the impact it's having on people's lives? Look, change is opportunity. Adapt to survive. What needs to change? This is a perfect opportunity for people to reassess things in their life and make the most of it. This is a perfect pattern interrupt. If what you were doing in the past you weren't happy with, well, now's the time to make the change. Use this momentum to create a better, healthier, happier future for yourself.
I like that. I'm definitely doing that.
Awesome.
Because I'm using that coping mechanisms. I feel like this is the only time I've actually feel more motivation to exercise again. Yeah. And to get out and be with, just in the nature, because we live by the ocean. So sometimes just walking on the beach just calms you down.
It does, doesn't it?
And I like how you use that, is it diffuse?
Diffuse.
Do you think it's, because sometimes I do journaling. So every morning I'll journal my thoughts, my vision, and I'm not highly disciplined. I don't do it every day, but I go back through my journal, and like I did it 2 days ago, but I went back, and 4 years ago, my thoughts and feelings and what I'm reading has actually reinforced some of that desire or vision that I had for, let's say, my business in bumper leads. But then, as you were saying, when you have all these thoughts around what's happening, the uncertainty, and I'm putting thoughts in this journal today and just reflecting on my Q1, quarter one here, I could not believe what I was writing. There were words that I'm thinking of. I hope that the lockdown will finish and I'll finally have my poached eggs at my favorite cafe. And those things felt like a movie, Once I saw it in writing, I felt this is real. Because at the moment, I feel like I'm living in a movie. It's not real, whatever's happening now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
So that's why it's so helpful to journal your thoughts. And what it does is it stops that swirling momentum that, if you ever become aware of your thoughts and start paying more attention to what you're actually thinking, you'll notice that they're just the same negative thoughts looping over and over again. And so just stopping and slowing your thoughts down, because your thoughts slow down to the speed of your writing, right? And then you get to capture those, like, thoughts are like clouds. It's really hard to catch until you actually get them down on paper and you go, oh my God, yeah. It helps you to better understand yourself on a deeper level when you just take that time.
So do you recommend, do you recommend we do the journaling as a everyday thing?
I do recommend a regular, consistent journaling practice. But look, if you don't do it every day, no big deal. But sometimes to get in the habit, it is helpful to be consistent and do it every day for a period of time. Say, the old saying goes, it takes 28 days to create a new habit, but studies have shown it can take up to 3 months, right? So depending on you and your personality type and how disciplined you are. So I got into a practice of, I would journal every day for 3 months. And look, that was the most beneficial thing I've ever done. And now I do it not every day, but most days. Only because I know how much better I feel. It's helping me to process my emotions as I go, and it prevents me from suppressing and bottling them up. So therefore, I'm less likely to need a therapist in the future because I'm doing my own therapy.
I was thinking around what you mentioned at the beginning around watching movies and how you could almost self-hypnotize yourself just by watching Netflix, which I'm guessing a lot of us will be doing at home as a family. Is that a good thing?
Watching Netflix?
Yeah, well, you know, going through that hypnosis change, like you described it, often when you watch a movie and you cry, you're basically in that state of subconsciousness that is the hypnosis state. Yeah.
Good point. We want to be mindful of what we consume, not just with food, but with the information that our mind is absorbing, right? And so be mindful of, don't watch too much news. You know, if you want to stay informed, great. But I've found that I have to turn the news off. I haven't watched the news in a couple of weeks because of how it was affecting me mentally and emotionally, right? So if it's important, I'll find it on Facebook, but I don't need to watch mainstream media anymore. I know what's going on, and they're just fear-mongering. And I've noticed the impact it's had on people when I go to the shops and stuff. And a lot of people are highly susceptible. And TV, movies, media, even social media now, it's the perfect brainwashing tool. So be really, really mindful of how they are manipulating you. So if you want to watch something, watch a comedy, watch something that actually makes you feel good rather than something that will actually depress you and make you feel bad.
So we have choices of how we use that time to really condition our subconscious, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So be really mindful of what kind of conditioning you want.
Yep. And that all starts with being self-aware and knowing, you know, being in tune with yourself, with your feelings, and is that something you help your clients with?
Absolutely, 100%. That is basically what I work with my clients on. So regardless of what issue they bring in to me, it's all about helping them to become empowered. Like, I'm not the kind of therapist that my business model is probably not the greatest business model, but my intent is to make people self-sufficient, teach them the skills that they need to actually become more self-aware and more responsible for their own selves, their lives, and not be reliant on someone to help them through all of their problems. I teach them the skills that they need to process and deal with their problems themselves.
I'm guessing you're working with quite a a wide range of people, people dealing with, quitting smoking, weight loss,
Anxiety, chronic pain.
anxiety. Yeah. Are you finding that people are responding to what's going on now differently?
Oh, everyone is responding very differently. Some people are using this as a perfect opportunity to make the positive changes that they want to make in their life. Other people are completely paralyzed with the situation from fear. And fear is the worst emotion. Fear, anxiety, stress, all of these negative emotions are the worst things we can feel right now because they actually affect our immune system. What we want to do is to boost our immune system right now to protect ourselves from the virus. It's out there. And what we want to do, we start feeding on positivity rather than negativity.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So yeah, if I'm, I don't know, if I don't smoke, but if I'm a smoker trying to go through the process of quitting smoking, is this event going to make me smoke more? Like, would I go and panic and buy 10 packs of cigarettes?
Yep, a lot of people are actually smoking more, eating more, drinking more right
Wow,
now. Yeah,
that's scary.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's exacerbating their stress levels. So the
yeah.
people that were using these coping mechanisms to deal with their life stresses, it's a reflection of the more stressed you are, the more you lean on these coping mechanisms. So
Wow.
these problems are just a symptom of an underlying problem, those underlying stresses, which is what I work with treating with my clients. I don't work symptomatically. There's no point in me addressing your smoking when the real problem is the stress that is driving you to smoke.
That's right. That's right. So how can people get in touch with you, Anna, to maybe sort out, be able to manage this uncertainty, or if they're struggling with migraines or chronic pain, because that's another thing that you really specialize in.
Yeah.
How could they find you?
So I guess the easiest is to go to my website, so annasiljama.com.au. All the information is there for you to find out more about me, and you can book in for a free 20-minute consultation, either online or over the phone, to find out how I can help you.
And so you run these sessions online, is that over Zoom?
Yes, over Zoom.
And do you have a Facebook group they can also check out?
So I've got my Facebook hypnotherapy page, which is Anna Siljama Hypnotherapy. And I also have created a new private Facebook group for people that are suffering from chronic tension headaches, or basically any chronic pain. But personally, I've got a soft spot for headaches, migraines, because, that's my personal story. I actually suffered from probably a good 20 years of chronic headaches and close to chronic migraines, but I never actually got that far. And I've recovered. And so what I want to do, it's one of my passions to help other people recover from chronic pain.
Oh, great. Fantastic.
And I forgot to mention the name of that Facebook group. So if you search for Transcend Chronic Tension Headaches, you'll find me. So there's just 3 questions I want you to answer, and you can pop into that group. I'd love to support you in there.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. Thank you.